If your business can't run without you for more than a week, you don't own a business, you own a job, and it's probably paying you a lot less per hour than you actually think. My name is Zaback, and I've spent the last 10 years building companies that do over 8 figures in annual revenue, many of which run completely without me for months at a time. And that didn't happen by me working harder. It happened by me looking at my time and at leverage and me evaluating if where I was spending my time had the highest ROI that it could have. Because the truth is, hard work alone will only take you so far. And in the next 10 minutes, I'm gonna show you exactly what breaks through it, when you need it, and how to implement it so your business can finally scale without you being the bottleneck. Most entrepreneurs believe the same lie, that if you just work harder, you'll eventually win. And you're right. For a while. You close more deals, revenue climbs, and you tell yourself, this is what it takes. But here's the problem. You're not building a business that can actually scale without you. You're building a business that requires you to run that business. Every decision has to go through you. Every fire requires you to put it out. You become the hardest worker in your company, and that becomes the biggest problem. You can't grow beyond yourself if everything requires you to be present. Here's how you know if you're the bottleneck. Ask yourself this one simple question. If you disappeared right now for 6 months, would the business continue to scale or would it totally fall apart? And if the answer is it falls apart, then you don't own a business. You are the business. And here's why that's a problem. You can put the right person in the wrong seat and it won't work. And you can put the wrong person in the right seat and it won't work. And sometimes the seat doesn't even need to exist. That's ultimately how companies get bloated. But if you try to sit in all of the seats yourself, you're guaranteed to cap out. Let me give you an example from my wholesaling company. I was sitting in every seat at one point. I was sitting in sales, marketing, operations, you name it. I was literally going to the bank multiple times a day because I always wanted to make sure that we had enough money in our checking account to cover our expenses the next day. So if we got a check at noon, I went to the bank at noon. If we got another check at 3 in the afternoon, I would go to the bank again. Like I was literally doing everything. And you know what happened? I got to a point where I hated my life. I would wake up every morning with the weight on my shoulders of this machine that I built. But the problem is that I couldn't turn the machine off. Like there was no off button. But at the same time, it wouldn't run without me. Some of my sales guys were making more money than me. I didn't have any freedom, and I literally felt like I was trapped. And that's when I realized I had 2 choices. I could keep doing the same thing that I was doing and keep getting the same result. Or I could go ahead and get uncomfortable. I could do things that were totally outside of my comfort zone that I'd never done before. I could hire people, I could delegate, I could try to figure out how to put the right people in the right seat and ultimately start to take a back seat. So I started to hire people and bring them on. And you know what happened? I got better. And in 90 days, things started to change drastically. I forced myself to learn that nobody can do everything at scale, not all at once. And I realized that all of the things that I was doing at half capacity because I was stretched way too thin, the people that I brought in and hired were able to do them even better than me, and they were able to do them fast. It means trusting people with your vision and understanding and accepting that they might actually do things that are different than you envisioned. And it just might be better than how you would have done it. But I'm telling you right now, it is the only way to scale if you're an entrepreneur. So here's what actually scales a business. The right people in the right seat. Not just hard workers, not just order takers, people who are legitimately better than you at specific things. So if you've read Traction or Rocket Fuel, then you know that every business needs this framework. You need a visionary and you need an integrator. The visionary is the big picture person. Think ideas, strategy, brand. Then the integrator comes in and they execute on that. Think operations, systems, processes. And most entrepreneurs try to do both, and they're terrible at least one of them. But here's what most people miss. You need to find who's, not how's. So there are really 2 types of who's. So you have hired who's, people that you pay to do a specific job. They do one thing at a really high level, and they actually end up filling gaps that you didn't even know you had. And then you have found who's, and these are people like mentors and advisors. And these are people that you can typically get to give you advice for free because they've already been where you're at. And they're able to shave years off of your learning curve and ultimately save you hundreds of thousands and maybe even millions of dollars. And here's why hired who's are such a valuable asset to your company. They're typically not entrepreneurs. They don't want the risk. They don't want to build their own puzzle from scratch. They want to find a way to fit into yours and make good money doing it. They want the high pay and maybe a little bit of equity, but they don't want to bear the weight of the entire business on their back like you or me. They don't want the sleepless nights. And that is not a weakness. That is exactly what makes them a perfect fit for your company. So what I did was I went ahead and I brought on multiple partners, and they were all integrators because I'm the visionary. And a lot of my integrator partners, they helped build out the systems, the processes, all of the SOPs for each individual company, and then making sure that those SOPs got executed on. Some of my other partners went ahead and they managed people, they managed the culture. They were overall great managers. They filled the seats that I had no business being in, and they were way better at it, and so I got the hell out of the way. And that is really when my businesses started to scale. Now, a question you might be wondering is, well, do you need partners or do you need great employees? So if you have capital, you wanna hire the best talent in the world. That is my #1 piece of advice to you. Think about Meta for a minute. They're offering a $100 million sign-up bonus just to join Meta in the AI race, and Google is doing the exact same. And if you don't have unlimited capital, then a lot of times you'll want to consider bringing on a potential partner. A lot of times you can get them for free. And if you can sell them the dream and you can get them to buy into the vision, you can typically get a partner that maybe would have commanded a couple $100,000 a year salary, but you can get them at least initially for free because they're willing to delay the gratification of getting their paycheck until the company actually succeeds. And that really is the power of equity and ownership. They're betting on the upside, not just the initial salary. Now, let me tell you what most people get completely wrong about this. They think that if you bring in the right people and you put them in the right seat, that you're done. The business will just infinitely scale forever and you can just sit on the beach and drink mojitos and do nothing. And that is just not a reality. You know, for me, I still wake up at 4:30 in the morning every day because I love to. I go to the gym, I work out, I have my morning routine. And then I come to the office at just about the same time every day. I have meetings, I oversee multiple different companies, I put out any major fires on a day-to-day basis, and I solve big strategic problems. I leave around 5:30 at night. I go home, I have dinner with my wife, I try to be present, and then I go to sleep. And the difference is I'm not grinding in the trenches in the day-to-day anymore. So let me give you an example of what the fires look like for me today versus what they used to look like. Before, when a deal fell apart in one of my real estate companies, I knew about every little detail. I knew if an inspection report came back or an appraisal or something weird was happening with the buyer or with the seller. And today when a deal falls apart, I hardly even know about it. I get updated in one meeting a week on each individual company that we run, and I get updated with bulk information. And I only make decisions or give my opinion on things that really matter. And the hard part sometimes is that there are certain problems in my company where I know the answer. I could easily jump in, I could easily solve the problem. But at the level that I'm at now and trying to go where we're trying to go, that isn't always the best solution. Sometimes the best solution is to do nothing and let my team organically get better and organically figure it out themselves. So can my businesses run right now if I'm gone for a week? Absolutely. Could they run for 6 months without me involved? Yes, they could. And here's what nobody talks about. The pressure never goes away. It just changes. Before, the fear was, am I working hard enough? Or am I closing enough deals? And now the fear is a little bit different. A lot of it is, am I working on the highest level thing that I could be working on? Is what I'm doing the most valuable ROI on my time? The pressure is just a little bit heavier because now it's not just about me. It's about every single person that bet on my vision. But I always have to remind myself that the problems that I have today are the best problems that I could have. They're strategic problems, they're growth problems, they're scale problems. I wouldn't trade it for the world. So here's what you need to understand. Hard work is the entry fee, not the strategy. You need it to get into the game, but if that's your only play, you're gonna cap out. You're gonna end up building something that needs you 24/7 to operate. And at the end of the day, that just isn't a business. That's a really high-paying job. Freedom doesn't mean that you stop working. It means that you stop being the bottleneck. You have to focus on big picture strategy, hiring, firing, the big fires that nobody else in the world can put out, and you have to believe that other people are gonna do everything else better than you will. Success really trades one pressure for another. The question goes from, am I working hard enough to, am I making the right decisions that move the company forward? The second pressure is a lot heavier because you have an entire team most likely at that point, and all these people are people who bet on you and your vision. But I'm telling you right now that those are problems that are worth having, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. The version of me that slept on a futon and worked for 12, 14, 16 hours a day, he would have never made it to where I'm at today. That version had to evolve. If you're the person working really hard right now, grinding your face off, thinking if you just work a little harder, if you just do a little bit more, it'll all come together, I just want you to remember that hard work will get you going. but it will never get you to scale. So that's the formula, guys. If this helped you, I really appreciate you staying to the end of the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already, like the video, comment down below. Are you the visionary or are you the integrator? Are you trying to do it all right now? Are you afraid of letting go? I'd love to read your guys' comments. And while you're at it, go ahead and check this video out right here. I think it'll help you.